The Whispering Woods. There's a dense forest on the edge of a small, forgotten town where no birds sing and no animals roam. Locals call it the Whispering Woods, though no one who lives there will explain why. If you ask, they'll simply look away and mutter, "It's best you don't go." But Ellie, a journalist hungry for a story, didn't believe in small-town superstitions. She had heard the whispers about people who wandered into the woods and never came back, and she was determined to uncover the truth. Armed with a flashlight, a notebook, and a camera, she set out just as the sun dipped below the horizon. The forest was eerily quiet. No rustling leaves, no distant howls, just an oppressive silence that seemed to press against her ears. As Ellie walked deeper, she noticed strange carvings on the trees, circles, triangles, jagged lines, symbols she didn't recognize. She snapped a few photos, her camera's flash briefly illuminating the encroaching darkness. After an hour of walking, she realized she was hopelessly lost. Every tree looked the same. She turned in circles, her flashlight beam slicing through the shadows, but revealing nothing helpful. That's when she heard it, a faint whisper. It was so soft, she almost thought she imagined it. But then it came again, clearer this time. A low, raspy voice calling her name. "Ellie!" Her blood ran cold. She spun around, shining her flashlight in every direction. "Who's there?" she called, her voice trembling. The whisper came again, closer now, and she realized with a jolt of fear that it was coming from above. She tilted her flashlight upward, and the beam caught someone, perched high in the trees. It was a man, or at least it looked like one. His limbs were impossibly long, his head tilted at an unnatural angle. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark, and his mouth stretched into a grotesque grin. "Ellie!" he whispered again, but his lips didn't move. The voice was inside her head now, echoing, growing louder. "You shouldn't have come." Panicking, Ellie turned and ran, crashing through the underbrush. The whispers followed her, growing into a cacophony of voices, laughing, screaming, calling her name. She tripped and fell, scraping her knees on the forest floor. As she scrambled to her feet, she felt a cold hand brush her shoulder. Ellie screamed and bolted forward, her flashlight slipping from her grasp. She didn't stop running until she saw the faint glow of the town's streetlights ahead. Gasping for breath, she stumbled out of the woods and collapsed on the roadside. She looked back, half expecting to see the creature emerging from the trees, but the forest was still. She thought she was safe. That night, as Ellie tried to sleep, she heard it again. The whisper? Faint at first, then louder. "Ellie!" Her heart pounded as she realized the sound wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from inside her apartment. The next morning, her neighbors found her front door wide open. Her apartment was empty, her belongings untouched. On the wall above her bed, scrawled in jagged letters, were the words, "You shouldn't have come.